The House Beneath the Hill. In a remote corner of Eastern Europe, hidden between decaying hills and forgotten woods, lay a village that didn't appear on modern maps. The locals who still lived there rarely spoke of the house beneath the hill, and never after sundown. To outsiders, it was just a crumbling ruin swallowed by ivy and moss. To the villagers, it was a scar that had never healed. They said it used to be a hunting lodge, once grand, long ago. Then, one winter, something happened. The hunters stopped returning. One by one, visitors vanished. The doors eventually rotted shut, but the fear remained. Children were warned never to go near it. The house remembers, the old ones would mutter, and it doesn't let everyone out. Chapter 1. The arrival Luca, a 27-year-old urban explorer with a fast-growing YouTube channel, didn't believe in ghost stories. He believed in views, and nothing attracted views like cursed places. When a follower sent him a grainy photo of the house beneath the hill, he booked a flight the next week. By the time he arrived, storm clouds were brooding on the horizon. Villagers watched him with unreadable expressions. He tried to chat with them, asking for directions to the house, but they turned their backs. One man, ancient and wrapped in layers of wool, finally whispered, "Go there if you must, but do not go alone, and if you hear the mirror call your name, do not answer." Luca laughed. It was perfect content. He left for the woods just before dusk. Chapter 2. The House Wakes. The path was overgrown, more animal trail than road. Crows watched from gnarled branches. As he approached the clearing, the house revealed itself, twisted, sunken slightly into the earth, windows like blank eyes staring upward. He filmed everything. The broken fence, the rotting porch, the ancient carvings above the door, some kind of script he couldn't identify. The door wasn't locked. It opened with a moan like something waking from sleep. The air inside was wrong. Heavy, wet, not dusty as he expected, but strangely leafy. He whispered into the camera, "No signs of entry. Feels like no one's been here for decades, but it doesn't smell abandoned. It smells..." He didn't finish the sentence. The flashlight flickered. From somewhere deep inside the house, something scraped across the floor. Chapter 3. The Mirror. He explored for over an hour, trying to stay calm. The layout made no sense. Staircases ended in ceilings. Hallways led back to rooms he'd just left. Old portraits lined the walls, but all the faces were either turned away or scratched out. One door opened onto a solid brick wall. Another led to a room that was too cold, filled with antique dolls facing the corners. Second story. The 10th floor. Chapter 1. The job offer. Elliot wasn't supposed to be in that building. He had lost his job 3 months earlier. Burned through savings, rent overdue, no calls back. He was starting to believe the universe had forgotten him. Then one night, an email arrived. No subject, no company logo, just a line of text. "We have an opportunity for you. Come to 103 Vespertine Street, 10th floor, midnight." At first he assumed it was spam, or a prank, but curiosity filled the silence where hope used to be. And when he Googled the address, something strange happened. The search results glitched, scrambled characters, blank pages, a faint sound file that played heavy breathing. Still, he went. He hit to Chapter 2, leaving after 103. Vespertine was an old office tower downtown. At midnight, it loomed like a tombstone against the sky. The lobby was empty, dusty, no lights, no security. Yet the elevator was working. When Elliot stepped inside, there were no buttons, just a speaker crackling overhead. Then a voice, cold and genderless, spoke. "Destination accepted, 10th floor." The elevator shuddered and began to rise, but the numbers on the display didn't climb normally. Instead, they went B2, 0, 3, 7, 6, 9, 9, 9, 10. And then it stopped. Chapter 3. The Floor That Shouldn't Be. The doors opened to a hallway that looked wrong. The angles of the walls didn't make sense. They sloped subtly inward, giving the sensation of being inside something alive. The lights flickered overhead, but not randomly. They blinked in a pattern, like Morse code. The carpet was soaked. Every few feet, a door. Each one made of black metal, with a number carved into it. Not printed, carved. Door 1001, door 102, door 103. He kept walking. A low hum vibrated through the floor. It wasn't mechanical, it was organic. Then he reached door 110. His door. Chapter 4. The interview and inside was a room that looked like an office. A table, 2 chairs, a dim lamp. Across from him sat a person wearing a suit. Their face was unfinished. The features were blurred like wax melting. The voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere. "Why do you want this job, Elliot?" He opened his mouth to answer and froze. He didn't remember applying. He didn't even remember his last name. The interviewer folded their hands. Fingers too long, joints wrong. "You've already been hired, but there is one condition." Chapter 5, the condition. A drawer opened in the desk. Inside, a mirror. Cracked. Old. But when Elliot looked in, the reflection wasn't his. It was him, but older, thinner, mouth sewn shut with thread. The reflection raised its hand and pointed to the wall. The wall was no longer solid. It pulsed, skin-like, and then opened, revealing a narrow tunnel lined with teeth. "You'll never be unemployed again," the voice whispered, "but you must feed the floor." Elliot screamed, but no sound came. The figure behind the desk was gone. The tunnel was the only way forward. Chapter 6, 1 year later. If you take the elevator at 103 Vespertine at midnight, and if it lets you press the 10th floor, you might hear something as you ride up. A low voice chanting numbers that don't make sense. Some say the floor no longer exists. Others say it's growing. Every month a new door appears. Last week, a janitor opened door 121 by accident. Inside, they found a mirror. A man was trapped behind it, eyes wide with terror, mouth sewn shut. And behind him, deeper in the reflection, the faint image of an office and a hallway still growing teeth. Third story, The Harvest Man. Chapter 1, The Invitation. In the quiet town of Darrington, there was a tradition no one talked about, the autumn gathering. It happened once every 7 years, always on the first harvest moon. Outsiders weren't invited, but this year Eliza Langford, a travel blogger in her late 20s, received a strange letter sealed with wax. "Come to Darrington, stay with us, witness the harvest. The elders of the Hollow." She thought it was a joke, or brilliant marketing, but the envelope had no return address. The wax seal bore an unfamiliar symbol, a man made of stalks, with horns like a stag, and her curiosity, that had always been her weakness. Chapter 2, The Hollow. She arrived on a gray afternoon. Darrington was a small village surrounded by endless cornfields. Every house had old wooden shutters, no streetlights, no children. The locals were friendly, too friendly, and they all wore the same thing, faded brown clothes and necklaces made of corn husks and teeth. She stayed at a farmhouse near the woods, hosted by a quiet old woman named Mara, who always watched the fields after dark. "Don't wander at night, dear," Mara said. The Hollow doesn't like strangers before the offering." Eliza laughed it off, but that night she heard whispering coming from the fields, voices, and something tall brushing against the windows. Chapter 3, The Effigy. The next morning she explored. In the village square stood a massive effigy, 12 feet tall, made of twisted straw and bone. Its face was hidden behind a stag skull, and its arms were outstretched like a scarecrow. Children laid offerings at its feet, fruit, feathers, teeth. She tried to take a photo, but her phone glitched and shut off. When she looked back up, a group of villagers were staring at her in silence. An old man stepped forward. "You shouldn't have taken its picture. He sees through the lens." That night, Mara didn't serve dinner. She just sat by the fireplace, humming a low, droning tune, staring into the flames. Chapter 4, The Fields Move. Eliza decided to leave the next morning. She packed, dressed, and headed for the path that led back to the main road. But the path was gone. The cornfields had shifted. Rows that led home now twisted in impossible loops. No matter where she turned, she ended up back at the square, always under the effigy's gaze. At sunset, drums began, low primal beats. The villagers wore wooden masks and gathered around bonfires. Mara found her and handed her a cloak of husks. "It's your turn this year," she whispered. "You were chosen the moment you opened the letter." Chapter 5. The Harvest Man Comes. They tied her to a post in the center of the field. She screamed, cried, begged. No one listened. They chanted around her. The drums grew louder. The corn swayed though there was no wind. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Then the fields opened. From between the stalks stepped a figure, enormous, draped in straw and shadows. Its antlers scraped the sky. Its eyes burned like dying suns. In one hand, it carried a sickle made of black bone. The Harvest Man. He stopped in front of her and placed one clawed hand on her head. "The soil must drink," he rasped, "and you have wandered too far." Epilogue. A week later, a search team arrived in Darrington. No one had seen or heard from Eliza Langford. They found her car on the roadside, door open, keys still inside. Her phone was recovered nearby, completely melted as if burned from within. No one remembered seeing her. The locals denied ever inviting her. And in the village square, a new effigy stood, taller than the last. Its face bore long, dark hair woven into the straw, and at its feet sat a camera, still recording. "Good night,"